Good evening and welcome to the Vision of Hope Show. I am your host and your producer, Deborah Ringo. Showtime. Hello out there. This is the Vision of Hope Show. And again, I'm your host and your producer, Deborah Ringo. And we're excited to be back on the air tonight. And we want you to contact your friends and let them know that the Vision of Hope is here. We're here for you, the community. We're here for you, you, and you. And also, we just want to give you our email address again. It's D-E-D, Ringo, at yahoo.com. Again, it's D-E-D, Ringo, at yahoo.com. Please email us and let us know what you think of the show or what you got out of the show. We also have CDs available. They're $5 each. If there's any CDs that you would like to purchase, you can call Win TV or you can email Deborah Ringo. That will be fine. We'll make sure you get what you need. We want to make sure that you're being helped, and we want to know that the show is being a help to you out there. Tonight, we have a different type of show tonight. We don't have a guest. I am your guest. I am your host, and I am your producer. So what we're going to do tonight, we've had 7 shows thus far, and we thank God for that. It was some tremendous shows, and I hope you were able to see a few of those shows. Let me know. I want to hear from you. I just want to recap the season that Vision of Hope was here on Win TV. First, I also want to take the time to thank Win TV for being such a great place, great host to me, great help, support, leading and guiding, suggesting, and just doing all that they can to make Vision of Hope what it is today. So I just want to thank the whole crew, the staff, everyone out there that's a part of Win TV. Thank you from the Vision of Hope. And we've come to the end of the year. We're getting ready to go into a new year. So we want to recap 2017 for you. And we will have some clips for you as well with recapping the show. So let us get started with let's take a look at episode 1. Episode 1 was actually talking about our returning back on the air, return show. And that was done by your host, your producer, your friend, Deborah Ringo. I was the host on there, and I was the only one again, and your guest also. And what we talked about was, we talked about when we would be aired, and we talked about we would be aired once a month. We talked about the reopening of the show, and we also talked about the vision. We keyed in on a particular word, and I know one of them that I will touch on will be vision. And we were sharing with you that vision is the ability to see. What is it that you see? What is your vision that you're looking forward to? And we want to encourage you, continue to encourage you that you can make it. You can make this happen. Even though we've come to the end of the year 2017, hey, it's okay. We can carry right on over to 2018 and continue to work towards the vision that we have. So we want to encourage you, as this is Vision of Hope, that you have a vision also, and we want to help you to get to that vision that you have. Okay. And the next episode was show 2 was a continuation of show 1, and we talked about 3 different. We spoke on 3 different words there. It was vision, future, and goals. The word vision means the ability to see. Is there anything in your vision, in your mind, that you're looking to accomplish in your life that you're working on? And sometimes we need to start new. The seasons are changing. We're getting ready to go into the spring now. The winter is behind us. So it's time to do some things new, perhaps, or it's time to kind of keep reaching towards your goal. And we also realize that goals can mean a short-term or a long-term goal. Whatever it is, short or long, we want to help you along by letting you know that if you have a vision tonight, that's a great thing. So keep pushing and don't give up. And remember that on the way to your vision, that things will happen. And, sometimes we get things happen where we can't control them, or, things happen in life that's really just life and the growing pains, maturing into things. All of that is part of going and reaching our vision, which is also / our goal. And we were talking about goals. We were talking about long and short goals. We know that when you have a short-term goal, you have to really, really get in there and plow and work on it, because you give yourself a deadline and you want to be able to make that. But if you don't, you can always extend it out. But don't throw the goal away. Keep it going. Do something towards the goal weekly. Even if you say, I'm gonna do something towards this once a week, do that. Whatever it is, that little bit that you keep putting into that goal, after a while, you'll see that hey, I'm almost at the end, and then you'll see that you have obtained that goal. And when it comes to your long-term goals, it gives you a little more space and a little more time to do your homework, to bring that into place. But we don't want to procrastinate, and we don't want to forget about it, because we have months to go, because before you know it, like we're at the end of the year, the time is up. So we want you to be focused on your goals, and make those goals where they're yours. When you set out your own goals, they're yours. So it's personal. It's up to you to make it work. It's up to you to do the footwork that it takes to make these things come into place. Now, your future is something that goes in hand with your vision and your goals. So what is your future looking like? What do you want to be? What have you decided that you want to do different in your life? Or what have you decided that you want to do to obtain to make your vision come to pass, or to make your goals come to pass? Maybe you want to go to school. Maybe you might not want to go to college for 2, 3, 4 years. Maybe you want to go to a different type of school, a technical school. Maybe you want to go to Goodwin College. Or maybe you want to just, you might want to go to Connecticut School of Broadcasting. I don't know. You might want to be on Win TV. Come on down. Whatever it is, put some legs to it, and let's get to moving on your vision, your future, and your goals. Now, looking at just recapping on show 3, we had 2 guests in, and it was a mother and a son team. Awesome. Created concept of change.
The purpose of it is, like we said before, is to give people an outlet from the comfort of their home. And we have people who are in the airport, we have people who are on the bus, we have people all over who call in with issues, and we try to deal with issues that's present. And show that there is a way to handle different issues. And it has been such a blessing to be able to get so many calls to come through and to hear what's on their mind. And sometimes we have the answers, and sometimes we give the answer the next week. We have them to call in, or we have a number that they can call in and get that information that we will give. So the purpose of it is to have people that, especially to step out. Right. I was afraid to step out and do, like on the phone, even on the phone. So it came a place that we can say, you can step out, you can make the next step, you have the strength and power in you, and encourage them to speak out.
Yes. I was so excited to have them on, because I've been a part of their show for a while, and it's been very, very helpful for me. So I brought it on because I knew that it could be a help to you. Creative Concept of Change was with Pastor Geraldine Finley and with her son, Eugene Finley. And I asked them to tell me, how did they get started with Creative Concept of Change, and what was the purpose of it, and how can it help the people that we were talking to, which is you? What they said to me was some key points, and she said she started with the transitioning. She thought about people. Now, remember, she's a pastor, so she has her own flock. She has her own congregation. She has her own church. So she deals with people with all walks of life. So she started with people that was going through a lot of transitioning, meaning that they were, they were making different change, like transitioning to a job. Some people was coming out of prison. Some people was coming off of drugs. Some people were addicts, alcoholics, some women was coming off the street. Some women would, the husbands left them. So the transition of becoming that productive single mom. So the Creative Concept offers a lot. She was talking about giving an outlet to the people that was transitioning, because transitioning is not always easy, but it's something that can take place. But some transition are fast, and some transition is a process. It takes time. So wherever you are in life today, I want to stop and say this. Remember, wherever you are, everything is not going to happen overnight. I know that, we would love to drive up and get a decision and get an answer for our decision. Like we can drive up and say, what we want from McDonald's, Wendy's, Dairy Queen, those fast food. But unfortunately, life doesn't work that way. And I'm glad about it. You know why? Because when it comes to transition, that means that there's something in me that is moving and shifting that's going to make me a better person and a stronger person. I can't tell you that it always feels good, because that won't be true. But the end result is the best result. So that was show 3, Creative Concept of Change. And the other thing about Creative Concept of Change, if you're interested, there is a 1-800 number that they do the teleconference. They do their show on the teleconference, and you can listen to them and take part right from the comfort of your home. Let us know if you want that CD. It's show 3. Now, let's move on and take a look at show 4. Show 4 was talking about real talk. And the guest we had on that show was her name, a young lady, very, very successful young lady. Her name is Couture Bryan.
Let's see, I had my first son at 18. I went through a lot of domestic violence with my kid's dad. I'm divorced. Working, not having a college degree, minimum wage, barely making ends meet, with your kids working 2 and 3 jobs, trying to find daycare, some reliable care for your kids, good care for your kids.
Yes, yes.
I have my oldest son has a learning disability. So that was another obstacle on top of being a single mother, that you now have a child who is going to school and not learning.
Right.
And not knowing why. It creates great frustration. If I could say anything, I would say that you have to fight for what you feel like you and your kids deserve.
Couture came on and she encouraged the young women. She began to encourage the young women, and she's an entrepreneur. She has her own catering service, Destiny Caters. If you're in need of any catering service for any event, she's the girl, Destiny Caters. This is show 4, Real Talk. And she talked about encouraging the women in their struggles as a single mom, an abused mom, a divorced mom. All of these women in this category, this is what she spoke on. And one key thing that she spoke on that really, 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 really encouraged me is that, and I know it'll encourage a lot of women out there, single or married, is that she raised a child that had a dysfunctional part, that was dysfunctional in his learning. And believe it or not, that young man is in college today. He's 19 years old and he's going into his 3rd year of college. Tune in, get that CD, show 4. Let's keep moving. We're looking at show 5 now. Let's take a look at that. That was part 2 of Real Talk. We brought on a young woman by the name of Tashina Lee, and she was just phenomenal. So just give us a little bit of how you accomplished your degree.
Well, there were definitely some bumps in the road. As I said, I am the grandmother of 2, which lets you know that my daughter has to be old enough to have children.
Exactly.
I became a mom at a couple of months shy of my 16th birthday. I was an honor roll student at the time, but that definitely put a damper on education at that point. My mother was very strict, and she made sure that I still continue my education, but at that point I'm continuing my education as a mom.
Yes.
So
yes.
College definitely wasn't in the immediate future at that time. I had to do what I needed to do for, at that point, a child. Maybe a year and a half later, I became a mom for the second time. I had another daughter. So prior to 18, I had already had 2 children. At that point, it was really about making sure that I could make a living for them. So I, took on odd jobs in order to provide for them at the time. And again, college was nowhere into the foreseeable future.
Right.
Because I had been an honor roll student, I presented myself well. So I was able to talk my way into a couple of decent jobs. I had started a job at the University of Connecticut in a registrar's office, and at the time, the registrar was an older black woman. Her name was Carolyn Butler. She mentored me and kind of took me under her wing at that point. She saw something in me, and she definitely encouraged me to work for her, but she also wanted to see me do better in life.
She's a dynamic woman, single mom, and she's raised, I believe, 3 kids, and she's a grandmom also. And she talked about being an achiever, how she went back to school, and, you know, she had her kids at a very young age. She went back and she finished high school, and then she went back and got her bachelor's degree. And she's holding a very prominent position with the doctors. Hey, come on board. Come on. Let's get that CD as show 5. Now, along with that, we brought on a second part of that show, and we brought on two children. One is the name Danae Bowers, and their sisters in Dream Bowers. And it's so adorable how they were able to talk about some things that they were experiencing in school. So that would be show 5. Let's get that CD. Now we're coming on down to show 6, and it talked about the road to success. Can you just tell us what happened, how you handled it, and how you came through it?
Well, you know, it all started at elementary school, being a new kid. I was always picked on for the clothes I wore, how I was, how I talked. People just simply didn't like me for who I was at the time. Middle school, same thing, but it was so big to everyone that I ended up switching middle schools and going to a more prestigious school off my grades and the type of attitude I kept. And I didn't let anyone tell me any whys, and that was really it.
And the guest there was Danye Bowers. He's a young man that struggled in his learning. He's a young, very, very studious young man, very, very mannered, great mannerism. I mean, he's on the ball. He graduated from a school in Rhode Island, the Met School that prepped him for college. So he went on off to Mitchell College, and he's going into his 3rd year, and his major is hotel tourism, and it's just phenomenal to see how he was able to triumph over some dysfunctionals that he had. I need you to get this CD. We talked about the road to success because we realized that the road to success is good, but it's not always easy to obtain, but you can attain it. And we want to tell you, in your road to success, whatever you're trying to get, wherever you're trying to go, just don't give up, because you can make it. Now we're coming down to our final show for the season, and that's show 7. And we talked about being an entrepreneur or a successful entrepreneur. We had a dynamic woman. She is the owner of her own nail salon called Z Luxury. And her name is Kendra Quinn Ward. You know, what is the reason that you decided to become an entrepreneur?
So the main reason I decided to go into business for myself and become an entrepreneur was I really wanted to have freedom, and I found that working for others meant that I had to stick to their schedule, meant that when I wanted to go on vacation, I had to ask for permission, and that I really didn't have control over how much I worked or how much money I made.
Right.
And I decided that I wanted to take the leap and try to really get to a place where I could truly be free. And for me, that meant working for myself.
And that's show 7. And I asked her, what did it mean to her, and why was it so important to her to be an entrepreneur? She said because she wanted to have her freedom. And she realized that if she worked for somebody else, she would always have to ask if she can have vacation. They would even tell her how much time she could take off. But if she worked for herself, she realized that she ran the show and she can dictate to her own self. I don't know what cost you want to pay today, But I realized, but through her, that she had to pay a price to get where she is. But she's a very successful woman. And if you're looking for a great salon, it's one that I use on a regular. It's really my salon now that I go to for my nails. It's all natural nails. There's none of that gel and acrylic and all of that. It's all natural nails, and the atmosphere is just wonderful. So if you're looking for that, and if you're interested in entrepreneurship and you want to hear her story, that's show 7. Now, that wraps up the shows we've had for the season, but we want you to continue to tune in because we have a whole new program coming out for 2018. And we promise you that we will be here like we're here now. Also, I want you to go on and email us and what you think about what you've seen and heard thus far. And that's at dedringo@yahoo.com. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know what you need. Maybe give me an idea about a show that you know that some of your friends would like to hear about. I'm open to whatever you would like because we're here for you. Just remember, this has been Deborah Ringo, and we are here at the Win TV. And remember this, you can make it.